God, hurry up, Dagon. You'd think a cosmic horror would be a bit faster than this. The horror part is how slow it is. It's a pretty cool looking thing though. It reminds me of whatever those bosses were from Elden Ring, like the space scorpion things. Infernal probably knows what I'm on about. There were like a few of them with a skull face. Start. Dagon is a faithful interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work focused on story and atmosphere. You will not find difficult choices, action sequences, or inventory management here, and movement is limited to progressing through locations along with the plot. God, alright.
I'm writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
Ah, poor guy. During the game you'll encounter interactive elements. Some of them will allow you to continue your journey. Hopefully most of it is just read out. Wait, what? I was talking about the, in Elden Ring, those bosses that are like weird, giant, lanky space scorpion things with an old man face or whatever, or a skull face. I don't remember what they're called. But like the loading screen kind of looked like one of their faces in a way. With pincers coming out. Parents are going to bed, so I guess you should too. Oh, very well. In case I miss you when you do go, sleep well. But otherwise... Hello! Some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find these secrets, focus your eyes and look for the Elder sign. Oh, there was one there. Oh no, there is one there. Am I going to read these? I'm probably not going to find most of them, so I might as well. As to letters, my case is peculiar. I write such things exactly as easily and as rapidly as I would utter the same topics in conversation. Indeed, epistolary expression is with me largely replacing conversation, as my condition of nervous prostration, what are these massive words, becomes more and more acute. Ah, cute. I cannot bear to talk much now, and am becoming as silent as the spectator himself. My loquacity, whatever that word means, never heard that one before, extends itself on paper. H.P. Lovecraft to Reinhard Kleiner. December 23rd, 1917. God, he's old. Maybe I won't read these, they're a bit long. I'll read this one. Throughout his life, Lovecraft penned around 100,000 letters to his friends and fans, out of which about 10% survive to this day. Ah, what if I play this in 100 years? But his tendency to endless correspondence was a relatively late growth. In youth, I scarcely did any letter writing. Thanking anybody for a present was so much of an ordeal that I would rather have written a 250-line pastoral or a 20-page treatise on the Rings of Saturn. Selected letters 1929, H.P. Lovecraft. Oh, to 1931. Lovecraft would often skip meals to afford postage. What? He's addicted to letters. Yeah, what's loquacity? It's a weird name for a city. The quality of talking a great deal. Oh. Talkativeness. Just say talkativeness then, game. Oh, I guess it was the old days when they used fancy words for everything. Loquacity. God. I wonder what loqua comes from. Probably some other language for, like, talking. Collections of his correspondence have been published in various books, and selected letters can be found online. Some readers consider them his most important legacy. Yeah, I've read it. I need to turn the sensitiveness up, as in sensitivity. Oh, that's gamma. I could turn that up a little bit as well. Up. 105. It's got to be a multiple of 5, if not 10. Oh, can't turn around.
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable.
Drugs.
I can bear the torture no longer. and shall cast myself from this garret window
Garret?
into the squalid street below.
Looks like a window Garrett might climb out of on his adventures. Oh!
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate.
You probably are a degenerate, honestly. Maybe not though, so we didn't have the internet in these days. Yum! Yeah. The opposite of taciturny. I don't know what that means either, but at least I've heard of that one. I guess that means like not talking much. The new dart here, basically.
When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
Who is this? Are we Lovecraft? Or are we man-person? I don't know. Are there any evil symbols around it? Oh, what's that? Oh, there is one. Okay, this one's shorter. Morphine entered into use in the 19th century and was routinely administered to treat severe pain during the American Civil War. Then, went on for 4 years, and World War I went on for 4 years as well. It was also sold without restrictions until 1914. Morphine became more popular after the invention of the hypodermic syringe. Oh great, I don't want to think about those. It truly is horror. Around 1854. Fried Rice, Fried Rich, Sir Turner. So looks like it might be a German name, I don't know. Friedrich Sir Turner, I don't know. Who first isolated the substance, originally named it morphium. Does it let you morph into a different creature? After Morpheus, the Greek god associated with dreams. Ah, dream substance. At the time when Dagon was published, morphine abuse, known as soldier's disease, already posed a big problem in the United States. I guess it's more just history stuff than anything to do with Dagon. So maybe we'll just do the main story stuff. Scruffle.
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
Supercargo? Well, I guess you are a human, so if you deliver a human, it's not just normal cargo. What would a superhero be then? Because if Superman is a superman, and a normal man is already supercargo, what would the next stage be? Extreme cargo. Is there another one around here? God cargo. Infinite. Oh shit. Did I get blown up?
The Great War was then at its
Oh,
very
lovely.
beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation.
What is that? Is that supposed to be the sunset through the fog, I guess? What's that? Football flag.
So that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
What kind of consideration is that? Hang on, I've got to move the window a little bit so I can look up at it instead of down. Okay, that's one of the things. Oh, that one's too long. It's about the Huns though, if you want to like read it, take a screenshot. It does mention Germans though, so it's probably... Oh no, I guess around this time it wasn't good, but... German Emperor Wilhelm. Oh no, the Wilhelm scream. Anyway. I'm here for the story, not for history lessons. Whoa. I thought I was going to get to walk around myself, but this is fine
So
too.
liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone, in a small boat, with water and provisions for a good length of time.
Whoa. I'm out of here. Splish.
When I finally found myself
achievement.
adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings.
Escape the captors or whatever.
Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator.
The Equator.
Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
God, imagine being out here on a boat alone. Probably wouldn't make it far once a tidal wave comes along, if that happens in the middle of the ocean. Or is that more of a coast thing? I don't know. It's lovely though. Oh, I have to look at the sun. Don't do it. I can't even find my crosshair because the sun is in the way. Nothing to look at.
The weather kept fair, and for uncounted
good.
days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun,
Ow.
waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
Cast him in! Water butthole. I'd rather drink water from a butthole than a water skin. No!
But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue.
Heaving. He's trying to heave one out. Bioshock vibes, oh yeah. Where's the lighthouse? Where are the infinite lighthouses? No, not Bioshock Infinite, please. Stupid, pretentious piece. Oh! If pretentious is the right word. History is part of it. Yeah, I don't know. Attila? Oh, Attila the Hun. Is Rome Total War one of those Paradox games? So I've been meaning to try a Paradox game one day. Probably just one of the Civilization games. So I've got like 4 or
The
something.
change happened whilst I slept.
Or what did you change into?
Its details I shall never know.
Yeah, I guess... I don't know, I guess this game is half about history and half about mouldiness.
For my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
Cosmic horror. What the fuck? Wiggle! It's okay, it's just a squid stuck in a pool of shite. Oh no, there's a lot of them actually. I've seen enough hentai to etc, etc.
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see.
I'd like to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse.
And in which my boat lay grounded some distance away. Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished.
It's pretty mouldy, it probably smells awful too. Is that a dead squid? Yeah, they are wiggling quite seductively. If only I had free movement, I would go over there and rub up against them. Probably unequip all my clothing as well. It's not fair.
For there was in the air, and in the rotting soil, a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core.
Is this soil? Can't tell, it's like shite.
The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish
Squelch.
and of other, less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain. Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity.
Oh, wiggle. Starfish, I guess.
There was nothing within hearing, and nothing in sight, save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear.
Homogeneity. It's more red than black, maybe, I don't know. At least the sun is still here.
The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
Pretty cool. I haven't seen any symbols for a while. Maybe some of them have just been hidden rather than indicated with a question mark. Oh yeah.
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position.
I'm more next to it actually. Oh, the shadows move. I control them. Lovecraft called Eldritch. I guess so. I don't know. I don't know if all of his stories are about Eldritch stuff or what. I don't even know what Eldritch is really defined as, but I guess it's more about unexplainable weirdness or something. Or a lot of it was unexplainable and impossible geometry or something. But I guess an unexplainable expanse of endless slime is probably quite unexplainable. Huns came to Europe, causing a lot of other barbarian tribes to flee and causing Rome. Sorry, I gotta read it properly. No! Gotta get me to test your posts before you make them. TM. Not really. Western Romans to start falling apart. The Huns were defeated eventually, but it was too late for the Western Roman Empire. But Romans had cool spears and stuff. It's not fair. Weren't the Romans arseholes though? I guess the Huns probably were as well in some ways. I don't know. I don't know why I'm saying it as if like it's a problem. Like, weren't they arseholes though? What's the problem here? Just war, I guess. Everyone's a bit of an arsehole in it, except the ones being attacked first. That Lovecraft story collection. Do it. I've always been curious to read them, but I don't know if they're all like the main reason I'm interested in Lovecraft is because of whichever the one is that has all the stuff that's in Dark Corners of the Earth, like the fishmen and all that, like the Lovecraftian beasts. But I imagine a lot of them don't really have monsters as such, and they're more about just, I don't know, just weirdness in general.
Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths.
Imagine the creatures that must live down there, beyond our reach.
So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me, that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might.
Yeah, but where's the ocean gone? If you raise the bottom of the ocean has to go somewhere, unless we're under it.
Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
I am. I'll eat them. I'll guzzle a tentacle down my throat right now. Yeah, there's really none of these symbols about. Is that one? No. Fish. Stinky.
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens.
Have a bit of a snack. There's plenty around. Is that a mollusk?
As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and
Aww.
seemed likely to dry sufficiently for travelling purposes in a short time.
Darn.
That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
Oh, he's curious about the sea too. Where's it buggered off to? Hi, Kaito. Quake my cheeks, do it. If you think you really can. Depends if I'm Dragon or Kobold right now. One of them is significantly easier to make the cheeks quake. But how are you doing today?
Yum!
Source of history can be hazy. Seeing the victors are the ones to write about it. Oh yeah, I guess so. Guess that makes sense. They probably pretty it up a bit or make themselves seem like the cool ones. Yeah. I don't know. Ah yes, a well-timed 69, just as I gulped. You're learning the ways here well. A 69 combined with the hydration. How did you sleep with tentacles squiggling around you? What if they had a feel while you were asleep? I must have missed some symbols by now. You're just gonna let that tuna lay there? And rot, if that is tuna. Probably
On the
not.
third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease.
What is that?
The odor of the fish was maddening, but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil.
Reminds him of his wife.
For an unknown goal.
Sorry. They've just taken out all of the cultic symbols or whatever. You just walked through that whatever it is. Giant sea dildo.
All day I forged steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
Hummock? What's a hummock? Like a hammock but not made of ham. For once. It really does look like shite. Doesn't look more dry at all. A giant whale. And undescribable bones of unknown creatures. What is that? Is this Half-Life now? It's one of those tentacles. Squodge. Oh.
That night I encamped, and on the
Oh my
following
God.
day still travelled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
I guess a hummock is a type of mountain or something, maybe. What are these? The thickest tentacles. Those would split you. Preferably. Also, I assume it's not lagging or anything. I'll see you later.
The fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound,
Mound.
which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance.
Yeah, that's how distance works. See you later, Mufgeb. Sleep well. Dream of sludgy expanses of tentacles. I would. So you know it must be a good thing to do.
An intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface.
Not to be confused with Major Surface or Lieutenant Surface.
Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill.
I thought it was a hummock.
I know not why my dreams were so wild that night.
Someone in chat is going to have to Google what hummock means as well. It's hammock but with a U instead of an A, in case you missed the spelling, because I'm curious.
But ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain.
Gibbous? Did you jib the moon? Yeah. Well, I can't understand why your dreams would be so wild. Surely reality is more wild than dreams now, at this point. Mr. Dude Man.
I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more.
No more, in bold.
Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again. And in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day.
Hummock. Hammock. Noun, noun. It's a double noun. Bloody hell. Noun, hummock, plural, hummocks. A hillock. Knoll, or mound. A hummock's a hillock. For some reason that's funny to me. In geology, a hummock is a small knoll, not to be confused with gnolls from D&D, which are anthropomorphic hyena men, or ladies, and very sexy sometimes. Or mound above the ground. They are typically less than 15 meters in height, and tend to appear in groups or fields. Oh, he's already wrong then, it's not in a group. It was one. Large landslide avalanches that typically occur in volcanic areas are responsible for formations of hummocks. Well then. Making up words, basically, that's what it feels like. Thanks, Kaito. You've read the story. Oh. You could read it along with it. I'm sure it probably cuts bits out from the book, but... Gnome! I'm not a gnoblin. I'm not a gnome. I'm a gnoll. And you've been knotted. Wait, do hyenas have knots? I don't think they do actually, do they? They have a weird floppy thing. I don't know, I'm not too familiar. You just found a Twitch extension called Dragon Pets. Now, does that mean you can pet dragons, or it lets you have dragons as pets? Both are good.
Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy.
But the squelch.
Indeed, I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset.
He's got the energy now.
Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
The eminence. It turned from a hummock to a whatever he called it earlier. Now it's an eminence. It's emanating all over me. I think the females are pseudo ones. They're like internal, aren't they? And then they flop out or something. Weird. Oh, thanks. I'll have a look after the stream. Big old floppers. Seriously, where are all the symbols gone? I guess they've just stopped handing them to me and I have to look for them now. There's got to be one on the mountain somewhere. Oh, wait, what? Oh, they only show up if you focus sometimes. The Loner. Contrary to popular opinion, Lovecraft was not an ever-frowning, eccentric, grumpy loner. He considered himself to be a person who appreciated humour. Moreover, he would often meet with friends in his apartment or at various cafes in Brooklyn and Manhattan. At times his social life was so intensive, his work would suffer for months. There was a point when he finally decided he needed to put an end to daily meetings and loitering in New York cafeterias. What? Now it's New York? I thought it was Brooklyn and Manhattan. And resorted to... hiding at home. Hashtag relatable. And reading with the main room light turned off. How can you read then? Probably had a lamp on the table next to him. Or a candle back then. Pretending he wasn't there whenever a friend knocked on his door. He also had another method of deterring his guests, which involved greeting them in a bathrobe. What? With an unmade bed visible in the background and piles of papers scattered across the floor. What would that suggest? I guess unmade bed means he was doing something lewd, maybe. But what about the papers on the floor? I don't know. Boroughs of New York. Oh, okay then. That explains it. Found the bit. Now you can read along with me slowly as I stop for breaks to read chat. Women are pretty scary. What if real ones have floppy pseudo penis?
I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me. But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon.
Oh, it sounds scary.
Whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine.
You're not letting me look down. To illumine. Finish the word, illuminate.
I felt myself on the edge of the world, peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night.
Dearie me.
Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost, and of Satan's hideous climb through
Satan's
the unfashionable
arsehole.
realms of darkness. As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
What does perpendicular mean? I don't remember. Very spooky. But spooky, sexy skeletons. Stinky, smelly skelebolds. Whenever you remember to ask your accountant how DAC 7... What? Oh, okay, this is about something else. I thought this was just random ramblings. Dix and Cream 7, the new game in the series. I guess I'm going in the pit.
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded
Whoa.
fairly easy footholds for a descent.
There's a VR version of this as well. This would be probably uncomfortable for me.
Whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
Declivity? You mean like the decline? As in it became more steep? Or something, or whatever, I don't know. I already forgot what you said. Bloody hell.
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath.
What's that over there? Some kind of Tower of Babel. Which changed payouts for EU because of regulations. Probably means we get less now. That's how usually things work. Eta Thesaurus, basically, yeah. I'm learning a whole different language here today.
Gazing into the Stygian deeps, where no light had yet penetrated.
The Stygian abyss.
All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite
Oh,
slope,
there it is.
which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me.
Oh, it's 2001: A Space Odyssey or whatever.
An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon.
Can I go touch it? Can I give it a good old rub? I can't find any symbols. That's alright, those bits of Lovecraft lore aren't what I'm here for anyway. Interesting, but I don't feel like reading the longer ones.
That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself.
Which came first, Dagon the storybook or Space Odyssey? Which one stole from the other one?
But I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature. A closer scrutiny filled me with sensations I cannot express.
Oh no, I never changed the game. Oops. I knew I was gonna forget to do that. Dagon. It's too late now. People have come for Quake. This must be why I stopped doing multiple games in each stream. It really did. Where are the shamblers? Actually, I guess it's quite fitting because Quake is quite Lovecrafty. So maybe it's not such a strange turn after all. You or Drac? We'll have to find out. Find out after the stream. We'll both start at the same time. See who takes longer. Scruff. Noise. Any symbols for me? Is that one over there? That's just a bit of a whoop.
For despite its enormous magnitude, and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young.
AI Dagoth. Oh, Dagoth. Read whole Lovecraft stories. Is Dagoth the guy from the end of Morrowind? Or was that someone else? No. Maybe? I don't remember. I'm not good with names. Especially made up ones. Oh, okay, apparently I am good with names, especially made up ones.
I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith.
Productions.
Whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures.
Oh yeah, I love talking about massive bulk.
Dazed and frightened,
Penis.
yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
Did I? There's nothing to examine. Nothing here. I'm going. Sounds like we're walking on paper now.
Now near the
Flesh.
zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the towering steeps that hemmed in the chasm.
Zenith? Why not just say the top of the sky?
And revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions, and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope.
Ah, it's trying to lick his feet.
Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the Cyclopean monolith,
Cyclopean? It hasn't got one eye.
on whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
Or is Cyclopean something other than Cyclops? Maybe the Cyclop part just means big. And somehow the ops at the end of it means one eye. I don't know. I'm sure there's some sense in it. How are you supposed to find these, man? You're not. Alright, I'm swimming over to it.
The writing was in a system of hieroglyphics.
I'm flying.
unknown to me, and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books. Consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes,
Fish.
eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like.
Fishy monolith.
Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world, but whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain. It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
There's gotta be one of the symbols around it all. There's one. Storytelling methods. Yup. Wait, what? Oh. Yeah, okay, yeah, that was the old thing about Dagon there. Dagon contains many themes and storytelling methods that Lovecraft developed in his later work, such as telling the story through carvings at the Mountains of Madness, the Nameless City, journals and characters' notes, the shadow out of time, the haunter in the dark. What is in with out of stuff? The colour out of space, the shadow out of time. Islands emerging from the ocean, the call of Cthulhu, the story that everybody knows. Or fictional beings and deities based on real events and mythologies. Migo in the Whisperer in Darkness. What? It's also considered the origin of the popular Cthulhu mythos. That's why I'm interested in Lovecraft, I guess. Probably all the stuff that I think of Lovecraft for is the Cthulhu stuff. Tentacles and fish and such. So, some of Lovecraft's other stories also conclude in a manner similar to Dagon, but let's skip the details in order not to spoil the ending. Good thinking, Bob. Partake in a conflagration of H2O and Colombian bean, producing a nectarous libation. What is libation? God, you know words too. It's not fair. Ideally with sweetened saccharine crystals. Sounds tasty though. Yeah, I only know Colour Out of Space because of the Nicolas Cage movie, and it made me quite uncomfortable.
Plainly visible across the intervening water, on account of their enormous size, were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a doré.
What is a doré? Doré the Explorer. A thirst-quenching drink. Oh, like penis. Well, you don't drink the penis. Oh, that's okay then. Ah, there's a thirst-quenching drink. Oh, two of them in fact. About to deliver their thirst-quenchiness. Their libation. Hopefully.
I think that these things were supposed to depict men. At least, a certain sort of men.
When there's a monolith at night and it's quite a sight, that's a doré. It was a bit late for that, sorry. That was the last dialogue box. Yum! Yum! There it is. Oh shit. Oh, I've been libated. Spilled down my chin too, so you know it was especially good.
Though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters
Mermen.
of some marine grotto.
Mermaids. Whichever one. Some of them look more feminine.
Or paying homage at some monolithic shrine, which appeared to be under the waves as well.
The middle right one looks male, but the rest of them look female, I guess.
Of their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail,
Well, you can't anyway, they're not very detailed pictures.
for the mere remembrance makes me grow faint. Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer.
What are those? Edgar Allan Poe? Oh, those are a bit scary actually, I don't like them, especially that top one. Middle bottom one could be potentially sexy.
They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips.
Flabby lips, perfect for suck.
Glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall.
Giant fishy penis.
Curiously enough, they seem to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their scenic background.
Oh, that's okay then.
For one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself.
Okay, maybe that's not okay after all. It's pretty massive.
I remarked, as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size, but in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe. Some tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born.
Piltdown? I've never heard of that either. That throat game. Oh yeah. I vaguely have some recollection of some throat game, but I don't know all the details. I'm not entirely sure. I would probably have to be reminded. Any more? No, I can't look around much here.
Awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist,
So awestruck that you teleported across the other side of the water.
I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on
Oi.
the silent channel before me.
The word is gay these days, thank you. Unless queer means other things.
Then, suddenly, I saw it.
Dong?
With only a slight churning to
Oh.
mark its rise to the surface,
Uh-oh.
the thing slid into view above the dark waters.
No, it didn't. It's still rippling.
Vast,
Oh!
like and loathsome, it darted like a stupendous monster of nightmares to the monolith,
I wouldn't quite call that sliding.
about which it flung its gigantic scaly arms,
Oh,
while
yes.
it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds.
Its butt, did it fart? That's a vent. The butthole. It must have been a fart. I'm passing out.
I think I went mad then.
Why? Just get
My
horny.
frantic ascent of the slope and cliff, and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little.
Good, I didn't have to make that walk again. Ugh. I'm all tilted. And shite. Oh no, I'm not, it's just I'm climbing up the wall. I thought I was half bending over for the
I
monster.
believe I sang a great deal, and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
Frustrated to meet the worship and over now. See if it can handle. Oh, dearie me. What if they're massive though? Like Cthulhu with his giant slimy hole. Am I an eldritch being if I can handle it? Dong.
I have indistinct recollections of a great storm sometime after I reached the boat.
These aren't wiggling anymore. They're dead. I feel like I'm sinking.
At any rate, I know that I heard pearls of thunder and other tones which nature utters only in her wildest moods.
Peals of thunder? Sounded like he said pearls. Maybe he did say pearls of thunder. What? How can they be pearls? It's a sound effect. Oh. A rumbling of the sky.
When I came out of the shadows, I was in a San Francisco hospital.
Oh. There's no monsters here. There is an aft ceiling though. Well, that would be a nice power to have, conjuring holes.
Brought thither by the captain of the American ship which
Thither.
picked up my boat in mid-ocean.
Delirious but free achievement. Escape the horror. Hither and thither.
In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention.
Scat attention. No, we just left Poop City. Now we're in even worse.
Of any land upheaval in the Pacific,
Ah.
my rescuers knew nothing. Nor
There's
did I deem
holiness.
it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
There's some holiness on the ceiling. Oh, there's a thing under it as well. Where's my crosshair? I'm not reading that. He's an atheist though, just in case you wanted to know, maybe. Considered himself an atheist and absolute materialist. Then San Fran, is that place known for its poopiness? Oh, there's another one. In defense of dragons. No, Dagon. What do you mean defense of Dagon? Do people think it's a bad book? Oh, I haven't got a body. No wonder I'm in hospital. Oh my god, another one. No wonder I haven't been finding many. They're all here. A prominent figure in the world of amateur journalism. Great. They called him an amateur. There can't be any more, surely. Might be another one somewhere. Oh my god, the door opened.
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist
What's that?
and amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
Smelly god. The smelliest of all gods. Dagon. Dagan. There's a literal poop tracking app. What the hell? That's mouldy. As you might imagine. Like I say to most things in life. But that especially. Dagon was the main deity of the Philistines, worshipped throughout the Middle East as the ancient god of fertility and crops. In Hebrew, the word Dagan was a common noun for grain. The rulers of Akkad, Mesopotamia, chose him as the patron saint of their war conquests. He also appeared as the judge of the dead in an Assyrian poem and an underworld prison warden. Warder, actually. Is that right? Or should it be warden? Because we're talking about prison here. In one of the Babylonian texts, he is often mistakenly taken for a fish god, due to the wrong interpretation of his name, as in Hebrew the word dag means fish. What does on mean then? In H.P. Lovecraft's works, Dagon is an underwater deity ruling over the deep ones, a humanoid race with fish traits that resides in the oceans. He is worshipped by a secret cult called the Esoteric Order of Dagon. Yeah, that was in Dark Corners of the Earth, wasn't it? I guess Dark Corners of the Earth must have been maybe a combination of multiple stories? Or maybe Shadow over Innsmouth is just also about Dagon and Cthulhu and a lot of stuff. Don't know. If that is the story. Or is Call of Cthulhu the story? I don't know, I'm confused. And confounded. Carpet. What a fancy chair, I want to sit in that. I also want to open that box and see what's in it. Squeak.
But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional, I did not press my inquiries.
We should have. Oh, there's so many here. That one's too long. Cosmic Horror Scholar. Find half of the trivia pieces hidden in the game. Another one. August Derleth and the Cthulhu Mythos. Also too long. I don't know how much longer is left, but I could look around the whole room for once. What a delicious experience. I wouldn't mind being here, it's massive. Fancy house, he must have been rich. Boop. Oh, the scientist, I didn't even see one there, it just clicked though. Can't look around the whole house this time. Splash!
It is at night, especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing.
Oh no.
I tried morphine.
Immersion ruined, I can see where the texture mirrors on the wallpaper there. Although maybe not entirely, because it continues differently to the left and the right. But that's definitely a mirror. Naff.
But the drug has given only transient surcease.
Cersei's?
Into its clutches as a hopeless slave.
Cersei's Lannister.
So now I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
Drink the laudanum, Daniel. Oh. Lovecraft on tobacco and alcohol. What is his opinion? Never tasted intoxicating liquor, never intend to. I guess he... What about smoking? He used to smoke when he was 12 in order to look and feel like an adult. He quit as soon as he started wearing long pants. Good, he's against tobacco and alcohol. I mean, I guess alcohol isn't so bad as long as you drink responsibly, but I could have gotten along with that Lovecraft fella.
Often I ask myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm.
Wasn't he racist though, actually? Or something? I know there was something about him. I can't think of the word. Not conspiracy. Something people don't like about him or something. I think it starts with a C, the word I'm trying to think of.
A mere freak of fever as I lay sun-stricken and
Whoa.
raving in the open boat after my escape from the German man of war.
Oh.
This I ask myself,
Ugh.
but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply. I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed.
Slimy.
Worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable
Ugh.
likenesses on submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite. I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind.
It's fine, just as long as it's not happening, just go about life as normal.
Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
What the... When the fish lords will take over. Are those the sea creatures? I guess so. Or are those warships? I'm not sure. Whoa! It wouldn't be so bad when that happens, because I can apparently fly.
The end is near. I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it.
Ah, the wife is back. Or the husband. Yeah, I'd probably prefer a husband.
It shall not find me.
Oh, slimy fish bits are coming in. Please?
God, that hand!
Uh-oh. Get out of my room, God.
The window! The window!
Get me out of here. Okay, bye. Crunch. You'd rather die than see a slimy fish man come into your bedroom naked. From madness to oblivion achievement. Hope you enjoyed immersing yourself in our little pool of cosmic horror. We would appreciate it if you took a moment to rate Dagon. What is this, a mobile game? And check out our other games and DLCs. Yeah, that was pretty darn good, that was. Obviously I was like being an idiot throughout it, so I wasn't really following the story too much, but an interesting little experience. And fascinating. I just wish I was that guy. I wouldn't say no to that creature trying to come in. I'd be more like, bed, bed, pull down.
And scary stories have been accompanying them for centuries. They have many faces and forms, but what is their purpose? Why do we enjoy being afraid so much? During our therapy, I'll try to...
Dr. Emerson's Nocturnes will guide you through all the colours of dread. Ah, thanks. Are you interested? Maybe. Oh, it's opened up the Steam overlay. Is it free, is the question. Pretty much had all the words from the book. Is that a short book then? Never mind, it's not loading the store page properly. Well done, Steam overlay, you don't even work. Whatever. Dr. Emerson. Let's have a quick look on the store here. Emerson. Dr. Emerson's Nocturnes. Oh, not release date to be announced. When did this come out? This came out 2021. 2 years later and they haven't even given any release date yet, or whatever. Unlock? What? You can unlock all trivia, but you won't get the associated achievements. Ah, whatever. Cool. Some a couple or so pages long. Dr. Boners. I wish that one existed. But yeah, there are some DLCs for this as well. The Little Glass Bottle, the Railway Horror, and the Eldritch Box. But I probably won't buy them. This was cool though for a free thing. It also has a VR mode in case anyone wants to be squiggled at in real life.